Okay, guys, so today's video is an interview I did with my friend Mike. Now, Mike is an email copywriter. If you're in my free school community, you probably recognize Mike. You might have seen him comment on some things. So I thought I'd do this interview today to basically give you guys an insight on what he's doing and what he's planning for the future and how he runs his business and how he finds clients and everything like that. So, yeah, hope you enjoy. Okay. Okay, sweet. Right.
Hello.
Um, So yeah, my first question I was going to ask you is, what is it like working abroad? Like, this is probably just a question for me.
Oh yeah.
'Cause I've actually never done it. I've always worked from the UK from an office, so I'm curious,
Do you,
like pros and cons, or
but have you only had UK clients?
I've got one that's based in Switzerland, so maybe
Oh, okay.
I think that's the only one. And obviously we work together.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, all my clients are in the US up
Okay.
until like 3 months ago. I got my first European one.
Mm,
But yeah, since I live in Europe, it has pros and cons, like a lot of pros and cons, but overall I like it. Just being on the different time zone. I
mm.
find that to be the biggest benefit overall is that when they're sleeping, I can like just do my work and like I don't know about you, but like the worst thing for me is when I'm in the middle of like writing something and then like Slack starts like beeping and or
Yeah.
you get like a random meeting invite and it just kind of like throws you off. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's the biggest benefit. But um I mean the cons attached to that, especially like at the stage like I'm still at, like I've been at for the since I started doing this. It's
Mm,
not where I'm like just turning down meetings. It's usually like the client maybe wants to talk through something, and for them it would be convenient at like 7 or 8 p.m. my time, and it's just like,
mm.
all right, like I'll agree to this meeting or uh or whatever, just because it's just easier for both parties. But you gotta kind of get used to that of like taking meetings late if you're working from such a different time zone. So it's like a 6 hour difference or even a 9 hour difference for one of my clients. So yeah, I would say that's the biggest con, just like the late meetings, the or like like when I was in Japan, I had a I was trying my best not to take any meetings. Um, and I would say I succeeded apart from like two calls, which is
Mm.
overall good. But yeah, I had to take one at like 10 p.m. So it's just part of the thing that you got to deal with. But overall,
Mm,
it's nice working abroad, and it does take practice also. Like
mm,
you gotta be able to work in between like sometimes tight time slots, or like if you're waking up and you gotta finish something, then you gotta get it done like ahead of time when everyone's asleep. So you also have to, I think tied to that is you really you really got to get clear on the directions. So if someone's not going to be available to like quickly message them, you got to know like crystal clear what you're working on. Because I remember I was running into some of those situations where I was just like I would assume what the instructions are, and I would
mhm.
like all confident like send them what I wrote, and then they would read it and just be like what this is not what we
Yeah,
what we had in mind. What were you doing? And
yeah,
now I'm
yeah,
like asleep, so I can't respond. And but
yeah.
yeah, overall it's good though. Overall it's good. I think I really recommend it if you're already working as like a freelancer and it's like all remote and you're not actually in the office, then
Mm,
um yeah, if you can make it work, I think it's just about setting the right boundaries with your clients, and that's definitely something I'm still learning, but it's doable for sure.
mm. Nice. And like, so take me back, like, how did you first start with email copywriting? Like, what was like your first ever client, like first ever time you ever tried to do it, like anything like that?
Yeah. Wow, yeah. So my first exposure to it was when I was trying to because I wasn't trying to be a copywriter when I first got into making money online and everything like this. It
Mm,
was 2017, and well, actually, I had this like internship where it was like in a classic like cubicle internship. commuting like an hour in the morning and evening. It was just I was like still in college and I was just thinking
Yeah,
like what I don't know. Yeah, like I know you had it too, or you
yeah,
don't
yeah,
really want to do something like that.
yeah.
And
I remember. I remember those early
it's
days.
rough. So
Yeah.
yeah. And I basically found this like make money online selling Kindle books course. And I was just like going through the modules on my lunch break. And basically I launched this like Kindle book and I had this sign up form to join my email list.
Mm.
And I started just like emailing my list a bit. And it wasn't really going well. Like nothing was happening. I wasn't making any money. I was like trying to send people to like affiliate offers and things like that. And yeah, but basically once I sort of failed at the start, I was looking up how to get better at this, and
Mm.
copywriting, email copywriting kept popping up. And I got my first actual client a little bit after that when I joined Upwork. And
Mm.
it was just like, yeah, it was just basically there was an Upwork timer, and I remember it was like recording my screen, which is like freaking me out. Uh, it was recording my screen, and it was just like write as many emails as you can, and you're getting paid hourly. I think it was like $12 an hour, and
Wow.
yeah, I was going crazy. Like I, I think I was writing faster than like Chat GPT. I was just like
Yeah.
I wrote like hundreds of emails. It was
Wait, so
like
the client
yeah,
recorded your screen to like check you were like doing it as efficiently as possible.
yeah. It
Okay.
was it was it was the one where it would take like random screenshots. So it's
Right.
just like I don't know. I was trying to stay so focused I wouldn't even have music on. Like now I like to write to music, but at the time it was just like just dead
Mm.
silent, just keyboards clacking, and then like that screenshot sound, and it was just yeah, it was pretty. It was quite the start, but yeah, that's how I got started, and then the client he was on YouTube and he was
Mm.
making like marketing content, and he was actually making a content about cold emailing. That's kind of
Mm.
like what he was best known for, and yeah, so I was just writing emails about his YouTube videos, which meant I was also like learning from his YouTube videos. And I basically took what he was talking about with cold emailing
Mm.
and I just reached out to someone that he was like a guest on their channel. So like I knew there was some connection there. So I sent a cold email saying like, I know you guys know each other and I wrote all these emails for this one guy. So I don't know if you need help with emails, I'll do it for you too. And yeah, I mean that's second client is someone I've known and I've worked for ever since then. So that's since like 2018,
Mm.
and it just started like snowballing from there. But yeah, it was Upwork and then cold email. I would say those are like the two best things I did.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same, man. Like, I started on Fiverr. Like, don't get me started on Upwork. Like, I did not. I hated Upwork, but
You're
Fiverr I did the right on. But
yeah, you're Upwork hate. I remember.
yeah, I'm like a
Yeah, yeah.
full-on Upwork hater. Like, um, but I think,
Slander.
yeah, yeah, got like an Upwork slander video. Um, but yeah, like, and then I did this like dentistry job, like I wrote for a dentistry brand. And I was the same. I wrote like 30 articles a week and they were
Yeah.
like 500 words each, but I got paid £7 for each one. So I was just smashing out these articles like
The
that rush
struggle
in.
years.
Yeah. Um so yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's what it takes. I think that's what it takes. I think some people like when they're new, they're like, okay, how do I jump to your level, like your level, they're like, how do I get there immediately? And it's like sometimes I think you have to do those kind of grind terrible jobs because then you sort of
Yeah.
know what you're doing and like I guess you develop the grit or whatever, you kind of get used to it. um
Yeah. I completely
yeah.
agree. Completely agree.
Mm.
Not yeah, I don't think you can really replicate that like artificially. I think there's
Mm.
a certain point where you got to go through or be willing to just. I think it also depends on like if you know you're going to be learning a lot from whoever you're working for, because you can also just be like writing copy and it's your first gig and you're kind of just like looking for anything you can get,
Mm.
but it's for like maybe like a really small company or something that they won't actually teach you. Like there's no like oversight. it's hard to say because I remember it just like I didn't have that sort of like level of judgment of like, oh, I actually want to work for them. I was just basically taking anything. I lucked out that like the first client was actually someone that was in marketing, and like so I was just writing about marketing, which is like a double benefit. But yeah, I think you got to go through the struggle years,
Mm,
and yeah, I think it's worth it. So like right after that, after then I got that job in Baltimore, which is
mm.
just like yeah, life in Baltimore is not the best, but it was like I definitely would not be where I am now, which is just like freelancing remote without
Mm,
that job because it was like
yeah.
that's where I made all those connections and everything.
Mm, that's it, man. Um,
Yeah.
so my next question is, what do you think are the biggest myths about email copywriting, like going around right now?
Mm, I think I think the biggest I think one of the biggest myths is just with the rise of AI, where it's just like I use AI and it's very helpful and it definitely speeds up everything I do. But
Mm,
I guess I just question maybe it's just because we both got in and got started before AI was so
mm,
popular. So we had to like learn the basics and everything without that the help of that tool. And I guess I just question like how much someone that's starting from scratch can do without going through not only like the grind years, but also
mm,
just like that like foundational knowledge of copywriting and persuasion and like um how the best emails, for example, were written or that sort of thing, or more so like the sales pages, because I know that's what most of those books I was reading were focused on. But yeah, I guess it's just that sort of like AI is just one click and like the emails written sort of
mm,
solution, at least when it comes to emails that that I think goes around nowadays. Like it's still incredibly useful, and I use it like every day to help, for example, with like first drafts, or maybe I have like an idea for a new email, and I just wanted to like quickly like let me see like what it would look like actually written
mm.
out, and then I'll see, oh, I don't know, like half of this should be readjusted, and then like then my job at that point becomes more of like an art than a science because I'm like I don't know, I'm just like pulling from things I know in the past, like when I was actually doing a similar campaign, and then I'm just like swapping things out,
Mm.
and I'm not just taking exactly what it gives me. Um, yeah, so I don't know, maybe like just the myth that I guess you can skip the training and go straight to just like AI will write this, and I'll just learn how to like edit from AI. I feel like that foundation is still really important.
Mm. Yeah, agreed, man. It's the same with me. Like, I have tried to do it. Like these guys think like I haven't tried to use AI to do my job. Like, obviously, I had that idea before
Yeah,
they did. Like, I was thinking when ChatGPT first came out, like, oh shit, I can do this, make this do my job. But like, it just doesn't work. Like, you think it does work because you think, oh, it can write articles, but like, you just can't do it. You end up probably
yeah,
working harder because you end up editing it to the point where you're just rewriting it completely. And then I think, well, it would have just been quicker if I just wrote it myself. Um,
yes. Had
so
that
it's
same
like,
thought. Like,
and it's like it can't do like the nuance, like it can't do the specific things that your client spoke about that you remember and things like that. And
yeah.
it's like, yeah, it would be great if it could, but it just can't, and I don't think it ever will. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's that like where because it's so important. Like the stage when someone's reading your copy, like where are they at that very moment? What's going on in the
Mm,
world? What did they
mm,
just see before they saw this? That that like level of context isn't there with
yeah,
when you're writing for AI.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
but yeah, it's a really cool tool to like tinker with. It's just not because I was hiring recently. I was on Upwork and I was trying to find some writers that could maybe help me,
Mm,
and I could very quickly spot when like when it was like AI written. Like
Yeah.
I know I was using a Gemini, and I know like when you take some text from there, it copies the like the pen icon. But
Yeah.
like the bottom of the text, it says like pen underscore spark. And I was
Yeah.
like seeing that in some of the submissions, like just pen spark, pen spark. I was like,
Yeah.
uh,
And it's
but
like a bit too clean, you know?
yeah.
It's like you know when SpongeBob becomes normal and he's like perfectly like round and
Oh, yeah,
he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
squeaky
The
clean.
realistic sponge.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. So
The
like
round sponge one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like that with AI. It's like too weirdly clean and like just weird. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I yeah. Hopefully,
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sure like it'll keep getting better. It would be really cool. Like I'm all for it. I'm all for just see how much it can do for me and just sort of like duplicate
Mm,
myself. Because then at that point, it's like you just have a really cool assistant helping you out like all the time,
mm,
and you can just turn into the copy chief where you're just seeing what they wrote and you're just sort of like moving puzzle pieces around. That'll be
mm.
yeah, I'm all for that. That'll be super cool, but
Yeah. I
not
mean,
not there yet in
in
terms of
my
how I
sector,
use it.
like I'm kind of more like I actually like the writing. That's the bit I like doing, you know. So I'm like
Mm.
AI to be able to do everything else. You know, if AI could like do my outreach or AI could do my
Oh, yeah,
accounting or like shit like that, like the stuff I don't want to do that I find hard
yeah.
and annoying. If AI could do everything and it would just give me assignments and just print me money, like that would be good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That I like thinking about it that way too. Or
Mm.
just yeah, you got to start with your strengths. So if you like,
Mhm.
obviously as writers, then this is like what how we make money. So maybe this should be the last thing that we should try to automate. Everything
Mm.
else, like I'm with you. Like uh I have problems sometimes organizing like what to get done. Like if there's like five tasks, like which one comes first? And
Yeah.
if it could just figure that out, that'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, like we said, we're both save to desktop guys.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I finally found out on Mac like how to hide all your desktop saved icons and everything because it was just a flood of files.
Oh, do you? How do you do that?
I figured it out like a few months ago, but it was just some Googling. But now like when I go to the desktop, it's just clean. But I think when I click on the borders, all the icons and stuff just show up, and it's
Oh.
just information overload. Like got
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah, I need to figure out how to do that because I do that.
Yeah,
And then I
just
just and then when I'm like and then I'm done with it, I just swipe and just delete everything. And then I'm like, oh,
yeah,
where's that thing that I need? I can't find it. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
That's
okay, so next question. So everyone wants to know about this, and they ask me all the time as well, like, what is your best outreach method? So how do you do
oh
outreach?
yeah, definitely. Definitely cold email,
Hmm.
like by far. That was the one that was. I mean, it literally started my entire career because it
Mm,
was like yeah, like I did Upwork and then I did cold emailing, and I think I sent. I had like a Google sheet. I want to say of like 10 or 20 contacts. Like it was the first batch, but the main one was that guy who already knew my Upwork client, and I
mm,
just emailed him, and that's how it led to that work. And then getting that job in Baltimore was also a cold email because well, it was a cold email because obviously they didn't know who I was. But I think the only caveat is that both of those emails were a little warm in the
mm,
fact that I had it was a completely like customized email that I wrote just for them. And I
mm,
had some sort of connection to them. Like the first one was I knew the Upwork person and I know they had been like together on an interview. So I was able to reference that. And then when I got that job in Baltimore, it was right after I watched a video by a copywriter who was um, working there, and he just like mentioned like this guy accepts emails for new copywriters and stuff. So like in that email, I said I watched that video.
mm.
Um, so I feel like Yeah, I mean, just factually, like that's what helped me the most is doing those two things. So, if I had to recommend it, it would be cold email and as much as possible, just customize it. Um, if the email is unique, I think it really leads to more work rather than something that just really reads like it's bulk sent.
Hmm. Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, because I actually do like a no, I do like a generic email when I send, but then I feel
Yeah.
like what I try and tell people is like it's different for everyone, right? So like people, they're like, okay, what's the absolute best way to do outreach? But then I'm like, everyone has a different method, like everyone
Hmm.
gets their clients in different ways, and they no client comes in the same way.
Yeah.
Um, and like I guess that leads me to the next question is like how many clients do you have? And are you sort of trying to go for more clients or sort of a smaller amount of clients that pay more?
Yeah. Yeah. I have um I have three no four yeah, four clients on like a monthly retainer. And that yeah, four clients on a monthly retainer, and then I like this year it's been I have these like one-off things that maybe are like
Mm.
a 2 month or 3 month project, and they've just been like coming in and out. I had one in the spring, and I'm working on one now that I think it'll be done by September. But yeah, the way I'm thinking about it right now is so I didn't have four retainer clients plus like all these projects up until like March of this year, where just out
Mm.
of the blue, like I don't know, I went from the same two clients that I've had for years to suddenly like brand new contacts, like test projects for them. Then those tests went well, so then they like did this more long-term deal. So it really expanded this year a little bit out of the blue, just through
Mm.
like really passive networking, I would say, just people like referring me. And there was no way for me to like plan for the introduction or whatever to happen. It was just like a random email.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, just knowing that, knowing how like random it was, and also knowing how much having like double the clients compared to last year is beneficial. Like it really, it's a lot better. It's like it just like feels better when you have more options.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so knowing those things, how I'm viewing like what I'm doing next, I definitely want to figure out ways to just raise my rates because it would obviously having like four clients at a time is quite like time consuming. And the
Mm.
work, everyone's happy with the work, and I'm overall happy with the workload and everything. But yeah, if I could just get more from less, that would be good. Um, and another thing I'm really exploring now is how to how to set up like a service that's maybe a bit more productized.
Yeah.
So, for example, yeah, I'm writing emails almost every day for my clients, but the ones that have me on retainer have me for like a bunch of other stuff too. So usually my emails are tied to like a sales page that I wrote for them. So it's like I have to write the sales page and then I write like the series of emails that are promoting the sales page. Or sometimes it's like Facebook ads. And it's really good for just like consistent work because they'll always have something for you.
Mm.
And that's why like getting paid monthly is, I think, possible for my clients right now. But yeah, the biggest thing I'm working towards is just like a productized thing. So maybe just like really simple price per email or something so that it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm getting like $100 per email or
Mm.
like an email series or there's like these packages that maybe someone could buy. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's my theory right now. If I could get paid for something like that, that would be cool. Maybe to me it feels a bit more like scalable, and I could get people that maybe don't know me so well purchasing services versus before it was um
Mm.
like obviously they gotta get to know me and everything before doing like a monthly contract. And yeah, so I'm thinking about that and then maybe some consulting too. If it's not it would also be nice to get paid for consulting and not just having to write everything. Like if I can just explain what I think should be written and then not
Yeah.
actually write it
Yeah.
and give like the whole game plan. But yeah, that would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
that would be nice.
Yeah. No, I think we spoke about this before. Like we're at that stage where we're sort of like we're kind of like advanced freelancers, but we're not quite the
Yeah,
business yet, you know, like we've
yeah,
left like the Upwork and Fiverr behind. We're almost starting to leave freelancing behind, but then now we're in this
yeah,
period where we're not quite at the productized service step yet. You know, it's like because I'm exactly the same. I'm thinking I need
yeah.
to build some kind of like monthly package where it's like you get 4 to 6 articles a month, and then you get emails as well, and then you get just that. And then I only do that, and then that's the only thing we do, you know? And like you're right. You
Exactly.
said about like, oh, uh, it's for new businesses because you that's the problem is that they sort of hire me for my face and my me as a freelancer, and then I say, oh, I have a business, and they're like, oh, that's fine. But it's about convincing like people as a business that
Yeah,
you're ready to work with. And I think results are like the key for that. Like I'm really trying to get
yeah,
good at
yeah.
collecting like results because I don't really um do that. I mean, do you have like sort of like results collected that you show clients?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I would say we're like on the same page for all this because that's exactly what I'm working on right
Yeah.
now. Like I just asked that last like random project I did, which was it was like April to June. I was working on it. Like just the other day, I think on Sunday, I like asked the guy for a testimonial because it's just
Hmm.
like it's the first time I've asked someone for a testimonial in probably like 3 years. Like everything on my LinkedIn was back. I think I got all that in like 2021 or like around that time. So I'm in the process of gathering all this stuff
Yeah.
because it's exactly like you say. Like if we want someone to order a package from us, then it has to be sold um like ready made on the website. And there's no
Mm.
way for a service like that. It's to get someone on over the fence, it's all about like, can you prove that you've done this before? And
Mm.
my favorite example, the guy who really inspires me is Pedro Cortez. He does I think I could be wrong, but I think his website, or at least it used to be, was Cortez with an S, Cortez dot design. And he
Okay.
was, yeah, he always had such a cool landing page as a SaaS copywriting consultant.
Hmm.
And I recently saw he went from that to more of like a productized agency. And I just think he always did it like the right way, in my opinion, because his pages are always like filled with just like video testimonials from people. And
Yeah.
it's just like him on a video chat and the clients basically just talking about his results.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this is cool. Thanks, man. Good shout. Yeah, because he's
yeah,
I can
definitely,
tell
definitely
that
shout out.
he's like gone like he's done the personalized freelancing. You can see that he's been a freelancer, but then he's just
Yeah.
gone straight into to being a business. But he's like kept the
Yeah,
person
exactly.
side. That's sick. Yeah, nice. That's probably what
Yeah, it's still
maybe
his
I'll
name, but like the you
yeah.
can yeah, I'm glad you also find it cool because I've tried to find examples of productized copywriters, and I think Pedro does the best example I've seen so far. It's just
Hmm.
like crystal clear what he does. And another good example, it's not copywriting, but design joy. I find I believe the guy that runs it's named Brett. Could have that wrong, but he's
Right. Like
yeah, he's got really good content on productizing services. I got his course. I can definitely recommend it.
oh yeah, Brett
Um,
Williams, Design Joy.
yeah.
Nice.
So
Okay.
he's yeah, he does good work, and it's all about like just being like a because at a certain point to get to that next level where you're talking about like beyond freelancing, then
Hmm.
I think there's also that uh question that you probably have to answer, which is do you still want to be solo or do you want to go into more of like agency where you're kind of managing people that do the work and you maybe stop doing the
Yeah.
work yourself? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think about this daily. I wake up screaming thinking about it, Like
I think, well,
like no, I don't really, Um, but
yeah.
yeah, like clawing at the bed sheets, like no. No, I already do occasionally hire people. So I feel like I'm leaning into the agency thing because like at the end of the day, it is a great business model if you can manage it well. But then like I'll always do the writing, I'll always do pieces that I want to do and because it's just like that's what makes the business kind of is me. So if I have other people writing it, it's just not gonna, and then my day to day is just gonna be managing other people, and then the quality is probably not gonna be as good
Hmm.
because it's just not gonna be like written by me handed to the client. And I think that's what the clients pay.
Yeah.
They like the fact that it's me writing it, it's my face, it's my work. And I think, yeah, I would like to be a one person business, but at the end of the day, like, you know, I don't know how I'm gonna make more money doing that because I've only got so many hours in the day and
Yeah.
I can't like I feel like I already charge a fair amount for my services. I could go down the consulting route and sort of charge a lot more and work with more businesses, but like I think what I'm doing at the moment, it either needs to go agency or I need to change business if I'm looking to scale up,
Hmm.
get to get to the 10K a month, milestone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you, because I have those same conversations when I'm thinking about like next steps. And I've
Mm.
also, um, personally for me, I do know one next step that I will be pursuing. It's just I don't know how intensely since I have like client stuff I still gotta take care of. But
Hmm.
it's basically just taking all your copywriting skills and using it to build your own business, and just sort of like build it from the ground up as if like you're kind of like making your own client. So I'm wondering like have you thought about that? Maybe using your like SEO copywriting to rank a website and then make a web or a like a product in that niche.
I mean, that's kind of what I've tried to do last year. So I actually tried to do that before I tried to start like a gaming website. And I thought, okay, I'm
Hmm.
gonna sell like PCs on it and things like that, because
Yeah.
I wrote like a bunch of articles and I got a good level. I got to like we were doing like 13,000 clicks a month at one point, like really solid traffic. And I was
Sounds a
like,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, this is sick. Fuck yeah, like we're cooking with gas now. And like it just like didn't happen. Like because it's and the thing is it's so hard to sort of do that because I found because I initially tried to put ads on it, right? And then I didn't really get any money from that. And I was like maintaining the site. I mean, it was basically a full-time job that then I wasn't getting paid for.
Mm,
And I think it's like I have thought about it, but I'd much rather follow the cash flow. Like I'd much rather
hmm
go
hmm
what's paying me now and then continue doing that because this whole time I was still working for currency transfer and I was doing articles for them and I was just pretty proud taking the money that I was making from them and putting it like into all my time and energy and paying for things for this site and I was just losing money. But then I
Yeah.
had this kind of revelation sort of about September last year when I was like, why don't I just do more of the thing that's made me money this whole time? I think I love the
Yeah.
idea of like, making a business from scratch and doing that, but I
hmm
try to do it and it's like it's really hard if you're not because I didn't know anything either. Like I didn't know anything about business. So I think it's hard to do. It's hard to do. But maybe in future. I mean, what about yourself? Have you ever
Yeah.
thought about it?
That no, that's really really cool to hear your experience doing that. Because that I mean that to me like on the surface when I heard like thousands of clicks, that sounds like oh you've achieved the end game, and now the money just flows in. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, exactly. Like sit back, Lamborghini. That's it, done.
the
Sick.
gaming share money.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I ride off into the sunset. Yeah,
I yeah I no I think that revelation that you had I've had it a few different times this year I would say because I'm always like maybe because I started doing this, like trying to sell those Kindle books. And at the
Mm,
time, like I had no idea what I was doing. Like the copy I was writing was just awful. So it's always like, oh, I'd like to get back to that. But at the same time, like I can't deny that basically anything I own now is thanks to just client work. So it's
yeah,
like I
yeah,
can't you can't neglect it. And I think what you're doing is very smart that you're like doubling down on it. And
yeah.
I think yeah, I do think um this I think like this whole plan is way more realistic, maybe if we think longer term,
Mm,
so 5 years from now, instead of I don't know about you, but for me it's always like, oh, I want to do everything right now, like
yeah.
double down on clients, plus on the side I'll like launch my own other brand and then I'll do like YouTube or something. And it's like
Oh
I don't
mate,
know, one
don't
at a time
start.
maybe is better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so bad for it. Like, I even had one the other day. I've actually forgotten what it was. I saw something online and I was like, oh, I could do that. And then I was like, no, I've already got my YouTube and my school community and my freelancing and my thing and that. And I was like, nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. I
Yeah.
can't do it.
Yeah. Shiny object syndrome. That's the
Yeah,
worst. I
it's
mean,
so.
that's what did me in, and yeah, with the Kindle business, because it was just like I found this niche because I was in the vegan niche,
Oh yeah.
and man, I remember I was like so it was just so mathematical entering that niche. Like the numbers were all right, but then when I published that book, it was just like, oh, I can't. It just feels so wrong, like being in this niche because I'm not even vegan, so I'm not gonna like teach people how to be vegan. I
Oh,
was
that's
using like
funny,
a
man.
pen name and stuff that
Yeah,
people at school
yeah,
found
yeah.
out.
You're
They're
going on these like
calling
podcasts. You're on like chat shows. Like, this
me.
guy changed the world with his vegan book. You're like, you then just
Yeah.
have to be vegan. Like, you just have to do it, like, against your will. You
That's
just.
what I did. I became vegan for like 6 months because I had such an internal struggle that I just had to like just I had to feel what my
It's like you did it
readers
in
were
the
feeling.
reverse way. Like, you became vegan for money. Like, you did it purely for like economic gain. Oh, that's
I
funny.
may be the first person who went vegan for money.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Not
That's
writing for money, it's vegan for money.
Yeah, vegan for
That
money.
was
Oh shit, we got
yeah,
two.
but
Yeah.
oh crap. Yeah,
Everyone's
we can
gonna Yeah, we can start a new one. Everyone's gonna know I'm stingy.
the Zoom, bro. All this
Yeah.
talk of copywriting
Broke
income
boy.
and what do we have to show for it?
Yeah, broke Zoom user. Honestly. Right, okay, let me
Yeah.
restart it and then I'll add you again. I'm still after the call, I was actually fully creasing at the vegan thing. That's so funny.
Yeah,
It's like when you're new, like you have like this, like you think like you have these ideas and you're like, oh, this is so sick. Like I'm gonna change the world. I'm actually breaking the game with this. Like I remember
breaking
like
the game.
I had this drop shipping store on Etsy and I made like, a few hundred a month. And I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I've smashed it. And then I had this idea because I had an article on like Hollow Knight, which is like a game. And then
Oh, I know it. Yeah,
selling I was selling the pendant of the little sword on my Etsy store. And I was like, yo, if I can get 13,000 clicks into the Etsy store, I was like, that's gonna work. Like that, I was literally I remember the day where I was like, oh my
that's
God,
retirement.
I'm gonna be rich. Like I was like, this is
It's
going to work.
official.
Yeah. And then I did it and like I think like five people bought it. And I made
Yeah.
like I think probably £80. And I was like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
damn, I didn't get
But
rich.
I mean, I think because we were talking earlier about going through those grind years for clients,
Hmm.
but I don't know. I also wonder if maybe it's because it sounds like we have similar experiences of like trying to do stuff ourselves and trying to sell stuff ourselves and different product ideas, different like niche ideas.
Hmm.
I also think that's a good sign, especially if you're starting out, to not always put all the pressure on like a client hiring you, especially if you're a beginner. Like sometimes it's good to just try your own thing out, and you really do learn a lot on the way. Like I had to write Amazon descriptions, then like set up the email and all that in between stuff too, like setting up a email account. I think I was using MailChimp, and it
Mm,
was just I don't know, little things like that. And then you can also relate to your clients a bit better. You kind of
mm.
know what's going on behind the scenes, so I feel like that's overall a good thing to do if you're starting out and if you have the time, obviously. Like if you really need the money and you really want to make this work faster, then by all means, like just go all in on the clients. But yeah,
Yeah, that's so true, man. And like even this website that I started that was like on paper like a failure, I actually then put that into slide decks that I then showed clients because I still got the clicks at the end of the day.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
like, look, here I've made a domain from scratch. I've then made these articles and grown the website, you know? So
exactly.
it's like there's always a silver lining to like what you think, oh, might be a failure. You still learn something along the way, even if
Hmm.
completely wrong. Then you learn to, maybe not do that again or like do something different. But there's always some value you can take from it, I think.
Yeah, yeah, there is. It's portfolio building. There's
Mm,
also, I find it's like so, it was always so exciting to get a payment like from Kindle or
yeah.
something, even though it was just for like $2 or something, it was such a great feeling.
Yeah.
Even compared to client like deposits and stuff, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's like money you made yourself. Like
Yeah, yeah,
like it's almost like you feel like you've like hacked the game. Like it's like money you
yeah.
shouldn't, it's like money you shouldn't be earning. And you're like, oh my God,
Yeah,
like, because when you get like a salary or like a monthly
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
hourly wage, you're like, ah, that's the money I'm kind of meant to get, you know? Whereas then when you like get money like halfway through the month of like some dumb shit you did online, you're like, wow, like this is, it like opens your mind up to like kind of that you don't have to do it with a salary or have to do it through someone
Yeah.
else, I think. So that's so important.
Yeah, I think yeah, if we can figure that out, that would be really, really cool. But at the same
Honestly.
time, I like what you're doing because this is something that I don't think a lot of people were doing even just 3 or 4 years ago, was the sort of documenting where you're at and then I don't know, maybe like setting something up for someone who's like a few steps behind you to help get them to like your level faster.
Mm.
Like that's sort of like laying down a path as you're sort of exploring the wilderness, which
Yeah.
I find to be a really cool way to make products. So you're still able to earn money in a different way, but you're really just teaching stuff you already know, and it's
Yeah.
not too difficult.
Yeah, no, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Like, I think it's it's sort of I do it because I like to do it because it kind of gives me I don't know, accountability, I guess. Like when I'm sort of doing it in
Yeah,
public, it's like I'm thinking like, oh, I have to make it work now because I'm telling these people that I'm doing it and it's also helpful because I feel like I think we said this before on a call as well, but it was like the going from 0 to 1 is the hardest bit. Like once you're in our like kind of one, it's easier to go
hmm,
2, 3, 4, 5 and go on because
yeah,
once you've sort of gotten over that hump of like having no clients, no experience, no nothing, then you're sort of in the clear. And it's like I don't want to forget that what I was like 3 years ago, or like that I hadn't done
yeah,
anything. I just
yeah,
done the normal thing. Like I went to uni and then got a job and that was it, like most people. But then I thought I don't want to sort of be one of those guys that seems so like untouchable that they've never, they're like, oh, I'm doing 10, 20K a month and it was really easy. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
want to like almost
That's
remember like because I'm still forget even now I forget. I say to people like, oh, just start on Fiverr, like just do this. And
yeah,
I
yeah,
have
I
to
know.
remind myself like, no, it is hard. It's really hard. Like I remember posting Fiverr gigs and getting nothing, and I was like, ah,
Yeah,
so tough.
man, yeah, I remember being so nervous for my first call with like the first Upwork client, and it
Mm.
was just like, oh, I had to like get like everyone's had to leave, like I was in my own room, but I was like getting everyone out of the hallway and stuff so they don't hear the cringe.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I remember my first like when I first posted like a few gigs on Fiverr, I remember like initially having a fear of like, oh my God, like am I gonna get fired? Like is like am I gonna like, am I doing something wrong here? Like, and I remember thinking like, oh, I hope my work doesn't find out. Or, like, I hope people don't find out about this.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I was really like scared that they would find I was doing it in a
Hmm.
way. And I think that's something that's a big challenge as well, is like even just having the bollocks to like kind of put yourself out there to do it.
Mm,
I remember that was really hard. Like even just yeah, like you said, like jumping on a call is so tricky because like you don't feel like you're legit. So you're just and then there's
yeah.
a business guy being like, right, tell me what you do and stuff.
Yes,
And
yes.
you're like quaking. You're like, oh, I don't know what I do. I'm just trying to get some money, but I don't know how.
Just just writing words.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, that was yeah. Yeah, there's something to be said for just kind of like forcing yourself into those situations.
Yeah.
Like it was also like for me this year, going from two clients that have known me for years, and
Mm,
there's just sort of that relationship. So the calls are easier. Like I already know certain things about the business to being introduced to these new clients. And for
mm,
the first time in a long time, like having to explain what I do and like introduce myself as like a service provider, that was like super eye-opening again, because it really like it humbled me from being like, oh yeah, I'm like copywriting and I have this monthly income from copy, but really it was just like two glorified jobs. And
yeah.
now it's like, oh, there's actually a huge difference between being like a guy with multiple jobs and a person who like actually runs a business,
Yeah. So
and
true.
it's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I feel like that's what I'm looking to sort of do this year because at the moment I
Mm,
do just feel like a glorified freelancer. I feel like I basically just have like 10 jobs, you know. I've not really I've not really done I guess that's what it also about the creating the productized service is like I think to be a business owner you have to create something, right? You have to create a
mm,
new thing that then people can use. Like that's the key,
yeah, yeah. A
because
solution, a
not
unique
just
solution.
yeah, that's it. But then
This,
how to make that is the $1 million question.
yeah, I, yeah, I think for me, I guess, like for example, I've had a bunch of random different like self-publishing things I was doing this year, and I was always like, man, it was always like, it started off simple, then it would get so complicated, and I
Hmm.
find that with like self-publishing and then also let's say like setting up a service, I always find that if it's really simple, and it's always what I try to write in my copy is like, how can I make this as simple as possible for the reader? Then I just find like it's so much more powerful or like more persuasive. So if
Hmm.
it's just like one service or one outcome, and you're really just
Hmm.
promising one thing, but it's going to be done like perfectly, then
Hmm.
I don't like I'm like really into cameras like way too much, and I had this like I was buying and selling camera gear, so like not even to make a profit, just like literally to just try different cameras, and I was like losing money, and it was such a such a waste of time. But there's one camera company called Leica,
Okay.
and they charge like 10 times more for their cameras than everyone else, and they take out like 10 times. There's like 10 times less features. They even make a digital camera without a screen, and it's like $10,000,
Oh
and
my
it's just
God.
like yeah, it's nuts. And I just I feel like they have it down.
Hmm.
Uh, they just do such a good job. Like so
Hmm.
obviously they're like a luxury company. So maybe if your service, if it felt more like you're buying like a Rolls Royce versus a
Hmm.
Honda, like if you can express that somehow, that sort of feeling to a potential client, that's all
Yeah.
just stuff I'm thinking about. Like I don't have any solutions.
Yeah.
I'm still,
Yeah, no,
but
for
yeah,
sure, man.
that's
Like I'm that's something I'm debating, is whether I go down the SEO route, like, okay, we'll do your whole SEO strategy, or
yeah.
whether I go down this sort of luxury branding route. Because I have one client that does luxury branding for wealth brands. And I
Mm,
thought like that is sick. That is so good because like I don't mind marketing. Like I've worked in it for years now, and like it's fine. I enjoy it, but like it is a bit of a slog sometimes. Like you're just constantly like swimming upstream, like you're
Mm,
always like chasing clicks, always chasing likes, and
yeah, yeah.
it can be draining. But then on the other hand, it's so easy to make money in marketing. Like
Hmm.
it's quite hard to convince a brand to do their branding and pay you lots of money for it because there's not necessarily a sort of quantifiable return. Whereas I think with marketing, you can very easily say, I can get you clients and I can get you
Yep.
money. So you can pay me more money. And like, so like I'm sort of in
Yeah.
between the two all the time. Like I've got the one I'd like to do. I would like to do branding for wealth brands and them fly me out to and drive their yachts and like
Yeah.
fucking do all that. But
This will
that's not
help you.
realistic.
This
Like
will, yeah.
that's not what they need. Whereas people need SEO, they need copywriting, they need stuff. So it's like what I was saying right at the start, like it's like following where the cash is, like if people
Mm,
are paying for that, then I follow that, and that's worked out so far. So I'll probably do that. But I do like love the idea of being like like a sort of luxury sort of brand for new finance companies that want to be all like cool and stuff. So
yeah. Like you mean when you say luxury branding, is it taking care of, are you the one that would be brainstorming like what's their tagline, their like slogan
mm,
and their colors and like the theme and things that they're trying to
yeah,
evoke in people, is something
yeah,
like that?
because there's so many wealth managers and wealth brands and stuff that are just like
Uh,
they kind of I guess have a similar route to us. Like they start as a wealth manager and then they want to sort of move into being like a wealth management business and compete with
mhm.
these old banks, and they want to sort of look legit, appear kind of professional, and do the whole lifestyle thing. Um,
Yeah.
but it's tricky, and it's like I think you need to have sort of skin in the game, to get away with that. And I'm too young, I'm not
Hmm.
of wealth enough. So what about you? Do you have any like what are your like future aspirations for your business?
Um, yeah, I think for me, if I could just get, I suppose it's kind of related to what you're saying, maybe in a different way. But for me, I just want to get really like picky about my clients. Where
Hmm.
like at the moment, I'm happy with everyone I work for, and
Hmm.
I think that the products and services they provide are really good, and they like do good things for people overall. But I
Hmm.
would really love to just get a bit more like picky and narrow in terms of who I'm helping, because I just think that would like bring even more passion into the work, where it's kind of like you were saying before, where it's just sort of when you're in this every single day, it turns into just you're kind of just like staring at numbers,
Hmm.
and it becomes at least with like what I'm writing, a lot of it is like judged on launches and like what numbers did you pull in and everything. So like these conversations are all about uh the math behind everything, like how much money are you pulling in, like, and that's all good and that's obviously what I get paid for, but it's just like uh if I could do all that same stuff but just for some brand or company or product that I really really like stand behind in terms of I don't know, they're making some huge impact in the world, or they're like really introducing a new product that's just revolutionary. I think there was Steve Jobs, or he was talking to someone like the vice. I don't have the details so well, but it was someone high up at like the Pepsi company,
Hmm.
and he was just like trying to convince her to join Apple because it was basically like, do you want to just sell sugar water for the rest of your life, or do you want to like change the world? And it's
Yeah,
like you're using the same skills, but it's like, what are you using it for?
yeah,
And I just feel like if you get good at this skill, it can be so powerful for, I don't know, like you can really just promote anything. You can put like any idea out there and get like a lot of people invested in it. So
yeah,
doing it for the right thing. So yeah, I don't know, maybe sort of not luxury brands per se, but like more of a luxury service where it's like I'm really doing
Mm,
it for like a client a year or something. Like it's gonna take
yeah.
me so much time and so much dedication that I can only take on one client, like something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the dream, man. That's the dream. That would be great.
That would be so cool. Yeah, but it's it's tough. It's tough to get there, but
Yeah.
you gotta go crazy. You gotta just go like Kanye and just like just you're the creative genius.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's too.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. I think I think it's probably been an hour, so we'll leave it there. Um
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.